Okay, it's been a couple days since that first raspberry video where we got 10 raspberries in our picking. Today I can see so many red ones. Way better today. You can see that the Japanese beetles are a huge problem this year. They're all over mating, flying, eating, turning everything into lace. So we do have a Japanese beetle trap over there. I have a hard time deciding if the trap is good to pull bugs away from the raspberry bush or if it's bad because it does have an attractant bait. So I don't know. Tell me in the comments what you think about those Japanese beetle traps, if you think they'll just attract more bugs or if they help pull them off of the plant. I had Japanese beetles before getting the bag, so I really don't know, but it looks horrible this year. So I don't know if we're gonna have raspberries for very long this year, but at least we'll pull this off and harvest it today. So I take the good raspberries and put them in a strainer today. And then any raspberries with even one little bug bite on them go into this empty little yogurt container for the chickens. And I'm pulling off even the ones that aren't that ripe because with a bug issue like this, I want to get them off this bush right away. So although organic farming is so obviously healthy for you, healthy for the environment, I do see the negatives of bugs taking over the crop as well, potentially. Another question I have, reply in the comments if you have fruit bushes or if you're a farmer and you actually know the answer. I pick off because number one, I have chickens, but also number two, I'm kind of hoping to not attract more bugs. So my thought process, and it's not backed by any science, I haven't even looked up on the internet what the answer would be, but my thought process is that if there are less ripe pieces of fruit on the bush, less bugs maybe would be attracted. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Wow, this bush is getting so plentiful. I don't remember exactly how many years we've had this bush, but I know that it took 3 years. The third year that it was planted was the year it finally started producing a good amount of raspberries. So if you buy this was just one little plant, and I can't remember exactly. Maybe it's 6 years old now, and I have all the other little sprouts to the side that I've started as well. Sprouts isn't the right word. Transplants, maybe. If you follow my channel, I'm sure you've seen, although I don't come on camera too often, my hands often are because I'm holding stuff. You'll see I don't wear nail polish. And I have well, actually they're pretty long for me today. I have normally really short nails because on the farm you get all scratched up, dirt under the nails. Not a place for polish or fake nails. It just doesn't work. And after years and years of not having it, I don't like the feeling even of nail polish. Never mind fake nails, but I can't stand the feeling of nail polish on my nails. It makes me feel a bit claustrophobic, like there's a, I don't know, I can feel the weight of the polish. I don't know why I got into such a ridiculous tangent. Oh, because my hands are in the video. See, it made sense. And with this many berries, when in doubt, put it in the chicken pile. So we eat berries just as they are. We have them in smoothies. I put them in muffins, pancakes. What else? You can have them with your ice cream, with some whipped cream if you're really wanting a treat. And then the ones that we don't use, like if right now, actually today, I still have my berries from yesterday in the fridge. So these ones I'm going to put on a baking sheet with parchment paper, one single layer of berries, and then I will toss that in the freezer for a couple hours, put it into a Ziploc bag, and then you'll have raspberries for all winter long. And the reason you do that with the baking sheet is then they won't stick together. So you won't have them all clumped together in one big chunk in the freezer, from the freezer. You'll have individual berries. And the ones this year, we had one big, huge freezer bag left over that we just couldn't eat. And so when the temperatures have been, we've had a really, really hot summer in Ontario. So when the temperatures have been like 36 degrees Celsius throughout the day, I'm tossing those frozen berries in for the chickens for a little cold treat. Because this year's crop is definitely here, so we don't need the frozen ones anymore. Although, with the Japanese beetle problem, maybe we will. But anyway, the chickens did enjoy having the frozen treats. This is only our third year with chickens, so I'm learning as I go. One thing that I've come across that I wasn't aware of, and I feel really bad that I didn't know, because I do have other pets, so you think it would have occurred to me. Chickens actually, I've just read, require deworming. So I don't know if that's something I get from the vet. I read that pumpkin seeds are sometimes used by people, but that it's not really an effective dewormer. The theory behind that is that the roughage in the pumpkin seeds will clear out any worms. But then other people said a lot of the worms that are actually most harmful to chickens are they're small. They're like microbial parasites, so they won't be cleansed with the pumpkin seed, with the fiber from the pumpkin seeds and roughage. So I have to look into that. Probably today I should get on that. I love summer so much. The fresh produce, not having to bundle up, go through the trouble of getting a coat on and shoveling the sidewalks and scraping the snow off your car. But there also is so much more work in the summer when you live on a farm, because you plant your garden, then you're going to be weeding it constantly, watering it constantly. and then picking your harvest too. So it is quite a busy time. People that follow me regularly may have noticed I've slowed down with my speed of replying to comments and watching my friends' videos a little more, a little slower and maybe less frequently. And it's not that I don't want to, it's just that there's so much to do on the farm that I have to do that first. And sometimes at the end of the day, there just isn't time. We all tend to go through that. I know everyone on YouTube that has a channel understands it does get busy sometimes and you feel terrible not supporting your friends like you used to, but sometimes it's just not possible. Only so many hours in a day. And I have Minnie home from school, obviously, as well for the whole summer. So she's keeping me busy. She has no trouble telling me what we are doing for the day or planning activities without telling me first. So we've been busy. We've been swimming, going to the park with friends, visiting family and friends. For summer activities, my daughter's in soccer, swimming lessons. She wants to start taking horseback riding lessons, and I know where we're going. To the lady that I bought Vinny from. She actually had brought Vinny into the barn knowing that I wanted a horse, and she knew he was exactly what I needed. So my daughter will be riding with her, but we haven't made any arrangements just yet. Partially because it's just been so hot. And with horseback riding, you don't just go to the barn and ride the horse. You're there to spend time with the horse, to groom it. And then after riding, you walk it around for quite a while to cool it down. Sometimes give it a cold bath, or sometimes just groom it really well, but you always have to be grooming and giving the horses the attention and care that they need in addition to riding. So it's quite a time-consuming hobby. So yeah, time's been another thing why we've kind of held off just for now, but I do have a plan. Just have to get started on it at some point. Now, as for my horses, I barely even put Minnie on them. She has ridden Vinny, the darker horse, a few times. But the reason I don't put her on is, number one, they're huge. Vinny is actually a very, very large horse. He's about 17 hands high for those that know about horses. So pretty big. And he also has a heart murmur now. So the vet has recommended that he not be ridden. So we have respected that. So not even pony rides on him, because he could collapse at any time if his heart gets overworked, I guess. And it's funny, I never knew about the heart murmur when I had him and showed him myself in my younger years. But he always tended to get really exhausted. But just some days he would be completely fine. And other days we actually would joke around because we thought he was just being silly. Like after doing pony rides with my nephews, which is just, walking, he would be so exhausted and sweating. And I would think, oh, that's so funny. Like, a pony ride can't be tiring, but I guess when you do have a heart murmur, yes, it could be tiring. So the poor guy. But I do get him vet checked every year. Always have. That's just kind of standard for most responsible horse owners. Because every year they have to get their vaccines, just like other pets. They get rabies, flu, West Nile. Trying to think what else. Tetanus. Tetanus is a big one with horses. They get their teeth taken care of every year. So the vet will use either just a file, or some of them use the electric. It's like a kind of a drill that files down the teeth. They also get dewormed. Responsible people will do a fecal test to check. Horses always have worms. It's just a matter of how high the worm count is, because they are always foraging. So it's easy for them to get worms. They always have them. But the vet can tell you at what level and what type of dewormer to use. Now, I've had horses how old was I when I got my pony? I think somewhere around like 8 or 9 years old. Maybe 10. Somewhere around there is when I got my first pony. So I've just grown to kind of develop a sense by looking at my horse. I can tell when it needs deworming, because the ribs start to show and there's just kind of like a dull look about them. Some people will say that that's ridiculous, but whenever I deworm my horses, they have looked better after, so I think it works. I also kept Vinny at a barn that had a deworming program. So because so many horses are housed together, they have a mandatory fecal testing. And so every time I would say to her before we did the fecal test whether or not Vinny needed the deworming. And I was always right every time. I could tell whether or not he did need it. But that's okay. I didn't mind paying for the fecal test in that case, because the barn owner was just trying to be responsible. And I think it's important when an owner is being responsible and you're keeping your horse on their property, just go with the flow. So I did. Okay, so I think we've done pretty well on this bush. You can still see red ones, but they have way too much white, most of the ones that are left. Maybe a few more. If you're still here watching the video, thank you. I've been very fortunate to have lots of excellent subscribers on my channel that fully watch every video, that like every video. Lately, like I said, with summer being so busy, I haven't been able to reply to every comment as quickly. And sometimes I've been just liking the comments instead of actually giving a reply. But I do read every single comment, and I'm so appreciative of everyone that spends their time watching and supporting the channel. Thank you. This is a transplant that I did myself just last year. I'll be giving these ones to family and friends, one of my co-workers as well, probably in the fall. It's so easy to make your own little transplants. Like, look at these growing. You just scoop it out with a shovel. You can put it in a pot or put it right in the ground. And then in 3 years, you should have a little bit of berries coming. This bush, just this one bush, is a different type of raspberry. So they're a little bit smaller, which kind of makes them hard to pick. They fall apart. They're maybe more tender of berries. Kind of become like mush. They'd probably be good for jam. So I think that's all I'm gonna do today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a good day. If you don't have anything planted at home, get out there and get something planted. Get some lettuce, buy one little raspberry bush. If you live in an apartment, put it in a pot by the window. You can do gardening anywhere. Have a good day. Bye.